Over the last week, I have completely redone the body of this guitar. It used to be a really horrible mustard colour, and well, now it looks like this. Yesterday I put it all together, and this morning I did all of the soldering. Now, for the rest of the day, I spent cleaning and conditioning the neck, putting on some new strings, doing some action and fret buzz work, finally finishing with some intonation to just completely reset this guitar and make it absolutely perfect. So today I'm going to show you how to fix up the neck, how to restring the guitar with the through shaft tuning pegs. We'll also look at what to do with the action, how to do your intonation and eliminate any of the fret buzz. If you have any questions, please let me know, otherwise let's get into the video. So because I've just restained the guitar and I've fixed up the body, first thing I want to do is quickly add a little bit of this body gloss. Just quickly going over and getting all the fingerprints and dust off of all the hardware. And then we just apply this to the body. So give it a shake. And then off we go. And now we can move on to the neck, where we're going to start with this. This stuff here is a fingerboard cleaner and prep, so that we can put our deep conditioner on. Now I've had this guitar for about 14 months and I haven't touched the neck at all. I haven't even restrung it, so all the dirt and grime has been sort of kept up from all the other people playing the guitar. You could use stuff like this lemon oil here from Dario that's a cleaner and conditioner. If you wish, I just like using this stuff because I got it for free for my birthday. So we're going to use this to get rid of all the dirt and the grime and all the dead skin cells and all that delicious stuff. And then once that's all gone, we'll put on the deep conditioner. I'll start with the thickest fret just to get the oil going. And there we go. Too easy. And just the final last touch, we can add the tiniest bit of lead in the nut here just to make it slippery. Should have done that before I did the neck. That's alright. While we wait for the neck to dry, I'm going to talk about how to restring a guitar. So with a Strat and a Telecaster, you've got a through body design, so you put your strings in through these little bits here. They go through the body up from these bits here, which are quite important and have two jobs, which we'll talk about in a second. But then you just drag the strings across, make sure that they're in their corresponding tuning peg, and you're pretty much ready to go. On a Les Paul, instead of it being through the body like this, you just kind of start the strings there, and then they go up along these things, which is just what these are. And then, of course, they go across and into their corresponding tuning peg. I'll quickly talk about what the function of these bits here are. So they have two purposes. One is for string height and the second is intonation. All intonation means is that the guitar is in tune. I could talk about music theory for days, but I'm not going to bore you with that in this video. Instead, all you need to sort of know is that at the 12th fret you have what we call an octave. So from an E to an E, you've got 8 notes. E, F, G, A, B, C, D, and then the E again. So all these do is make sure that when you play E on the 0th fret, you should of course have an E note. And then the same thing on the 12th fret, you should have another E. Without these, you could have a low E string perfectly in tune, but then the 12th fret, which is supposed to be another E note, it could either be too sharp or too flat. The second purpose is the string height from the pickups. If you ever have any fret buzz on the higher frets of the guitar, if your action is fine, it just means that these are too low. We'll talk about action in a second. We need to set this up in a curve. The reason we do that is if we're doing an up pick to play the E and the B string, if the high E string was too high, you wouldn't be able to up pick the B string because every time you go for it, you just hit that high E. Or if it's too low, you might miss it and just play the B string. So we make sure there's a little bit of curvature just to make picking a little bit easier. So for the ones on the end, you make them a little bit looser, which in turn makes it a little bit shorter. Then you just sort of back off the shortness on the next one and then make the middle ones a little bit higher. Right now what we'll do is get the strings on, and as we do that we'll put on some of this string cleaner and conditioner. I'm just going to start with the thickest string and work my way down. So here's our E string. Before I unravel it, we're going to use the string conditioner and cleaner, which again I haven't used before. I'm going to slot this through the hole and hope for the best. It's easier to put these in than it is to pull them out, because when you pull them out they're curved. Just going to pull them through and then we just lay them over there. So E string, done. Now we've got all the strings through. I'm just going to do that to make my life a little bit easier. And we rotate the guitar. What we're going to do to start is just cut off some of the excess. You're going to go 1, I'm going to go 2.5 tuning pegs away and cut that off. So with this guitar we've got, I can't remember what they're called, but split something, like maybe split shaft tuning pegs or something, where you've got a split here and a hole there that the string can go in, sort of like that. And all we're going to do for this one is put the string in the hole and then push it across to the side. What we're going to do is we're actually going to put this in the general direction of where the nut is, and we're going to put some pressure down. This way the string is sort of going to be pulled down as we restring it. This way we avoid the string sort of being all free in the nut, and it sort of pulls down a little bit so we don't get a horrible sounding noise. So again, we put this in, wrap it around, make sure there's slack along the neck portion of the string, wind it up. I do have a string winder, and I never think to get it. All the strings are now on, so we can work on the intonation. So I've restrung the guitar. The neck is still a little bit on the wet side. We're going to do a little bit of tuning. The intonation is going to be horrible. I'm scared it's going to be extremely out of tune. Before I tune up, I'm just going to bend the strings and get them moving around a little bit. I can really hear that that's out quite a bit. The neck's still quite wet, so I should probably leave it be for a little bit, let the strings settle in. I've just spent a little bit of time trying to find all the buzz notes and dead notes on the guitar. There's dead notes over here on the 15th fret when I bend because of this last fret here. It basically just cuts off the vibration of the string. We've got a few buzz notes around the 12th fret and a fair amount of buzz notes down here on the 2nd fret. So what we need to do is work on the action of the guitar. To control the action of the guitar, we need to look at the truss rod. The truss rod is what controls the action of the guitar. It is a metal rod that runs through the neck and can be accessed usually through the head of the guitar right there. Sometimes, like on my Les Paul, there's a cap covering the hole, and oftentimes with acoustic guitars, you can access the truss rod through the body there. The function of the truss rod is to decide what the bowing of the neck looks like. If the neck was flat, all the strings would just vibrate all across the frets and would cause buzz notes. With a back bow, the strings will not be able to vibrate, so you'll just get a bunch of dead notes. What you're looking for is a slight down bow. If it's too large of a curve, the guitar is going to be way too difficult to play, so you need to find the perfect little spot right between the flat and the bend. So a slight little down bow is what we're looking for. All we're going to need is a little, I think this is about a 4mm Allen key bit, and we're going to put it wherever we can access the truss rod. So for this guitar, we'll obviously be putting it down there. If you're getting fret buzz or dead notes, you're going to want to create more of that down bow, so you're going to need to loosen off the truss rod. Think about it like this. If you tighten it up, this is going to happen. It's going to pull straight, and eventually it will start bending up this way. So we're going to need to loosen it off a little bit to eliminate that buzz note. To get access to this, we're going to need to loosen up the 4 strings in the middle. With the strings loosened off, we can sort of move them out of the way a little bit, and then we just slot this in, and we think about tightening up a screw. If we turn it to the left this way, we're going to be loosening off the truss rod, giving into that bend, which will get rid of the fret buzz. If we turn it from the other way and go towards the right, if we look front on just like the camera is there, that should flatten out the truss rod and pull against the strings. If you'd like to keep your guitar from breaking, I definitely recommend doing some small increments. So go slow, only do a quarter turn each time. I've only done a couple of turns and I've already gotten rid of the fret buzz down on the lower frets. And what we can do now is look at the higher frets. Now we can look down here at the other end of the guitar. We're going to focus on the saddles. We need to keep the curved pattern so we can allow easy access to the strings, but to eliminate the dead notes we're getting because of this last fret here, we're going to need to lift the saddles up a little bit. Just like the truss rod, you're going to want to make small adjustments and keep playing around with it until you get it perfect. I've already lifted it up a little bit and I'm no longer getting dead notes because of that final fret. I'm now going to tune back up and just play around with the guitar to see if there's any more buzz notes or dead notes. If there is, I'll just continue the process. I don't think I'm going to have any problems with the lower frets. It's the high frets that I'm still worried about. But if everything's okay, we can move on to the final step. While we're here, there's one more thing that I want to do. One very common trick that a guitar store will usually do is they will increase the height of the pickups. This decreases the quality of the tone and amplifies the volume of the guitar so it sounds much louder. Because you don't have access to all your own tones and everything back at home, the louder guitar usually feels like the one that sounds best. So what I'm going to do is just, sometimes I do it a little bit more significant, but this guitar already sounds pretty good. All I'm going to do is drop the pickups back down, just by loosening off the screws, and this way the guitar should have a lower output but a higher quality of tone. Now that we've finished with the action, we can start looking at intonation. All we're going to do for intonation is shorten or lengthen the strings. The shorter a string is, the sharper or higher it's going to sound. The longer the string is, the lower or the flatter it's going to sound. To change the length of a string, we need to use the saddles. To shorten the string, we need to loosen off the saddle, which will make it move closer to the neck, and that will, in turn, shorten the string. And then, of course, it's the opposite. If we want to lengthen the string, we tighten it up, which will pull the saddle further away from the neck and make the string longer. So, for example, we play the high E string, it's a little bit too sharp, it means the string is too short. What we need to do is tighten this up a little bit, pulling the saddle away from the neck, lengthening the string, then it should be perfectly in tune. To do your intonation, there's 3 steps. Step 1, make sure your string is in tune. With the string in tune, you come up and play a harmonic on the 12th fret, which should realistically be in tune with your open string. To play the harmonic, all you're doing is putting your finger with pretty much 0 pressure right on top of the 12th fret, right above the metal, and you'll get your harmonic, which according to my tuner is basically in tune with the open string. Now what we need to do is make sure our fretted note, so fret 12, we need to make sure that matches, which it does because I've already intonated this high E string. So we need to make sure that our fretted note matches the harmonic note. Harmonic note is dead center, so is the fretted note. That string is properly intonated. Now let's try the B string. So the first step was make sure that we're in tune. Then we play the harmonic on the 12th fret, which shows that we are ever so slightly flat, which means we need to make sure that our fretted note on the B string, on the 12th fret of the B, should also be ever so slightly flat. Ours is pretty much in the middle, so we need to flatten it. So our harmonic note is here, but our fretted note is here, so we need to move it down to match with the harmonic note. Because it's over here, it means it's too sharp, which means the string is too short. So what we need to do is lengthen the string, and to do that, we need to tighten it up, which will move the saddle further away from the neck, pulling the string a little bit. Then all we need to do is retune. Once we're back in tune, we play the harmonic on the 12th fret, ever so slightly flat, again ever so slightly flat, maybe even a little bit too flat, which means the string is now a little bit too long, so I'm going to loosen it off just a little bit, just a fraction, and that should hopefully make all the difference. So again, tune up the string, harmonic, just flat, fretted note, basically the same. We'll do one more, using the G string, we make sure that it's in tune. Once it's in tune, we go harmonic, play that, and we're a little bit sharp, so I need to lengthen the string. To do that, we tighten it up, harmonic, basically on, basically on. So there we go. Just going to tighten it up a little bit more, and now our G string should be intonated. So there's only 3 steps to follow. Number 1 is make sure the string is in tune. Second is we play the harmonic, and third is we make sure that our fretted note matches the harmonic. So if it's too low, we need to shorten the string. If it's too high, we need to lengthen it. To shorten the string, we allow for a little bit more give. To lengthen the string, we pull it back a little bit further. All that is controlled by tightening up or loosening off the screw. Now I can go ahead and do the final 3 strings. And now what you'll find is your guitar solos are in tune. We'll do a quick little recap of everything we covered in today's video. So we started with the body gloss on the body of the guitar, which protected it a little bit, but obviously gave it that nice shine. Then we moved on to the neck, got it cleaned and then conditioned. Now it feels really smooth to play. Slides are simple. Bends feel good. Getting carried away, sorry. Then, through the body, we put on the new strings. The end of the string goes obviously in the hole there, we figured out. So clean the body, clean the neck, put the strings on. Then we started looking at the action, making sure there was only just a little bit of a bend. And then with the help of the action and our saddles, we made sure there was no fret buzz. And then we did some intonation. Remember, the shorter the string, the sharper it is. The longer the string, the lower it is. Bye.